So I've been looking back through some old work of mine from a couple of years ago, and I thought I would do a video critiquing my work and basically telling you everything that is wrong with these photos I'm about to show you. Now, if you want to go from this to this, I have an online course called Become a Brand Photographer. I'll link everything in the description box below, but essentially it's my brain in an online course teaching you about how to enter the industry, how to find success in the industry of product photography, work with brands, improve the quality of your work, and many, many more things. And if you'd love a little discount, you can use the code YouTube for 10% off. And of course, if you have any questions on whether it's going to be the right fit for you, always feel free to send me an email or a DM on Instagram. Let's look at gallery number 1. This is for my client Vanity. This was the very first shoot I ever did with them. I was so excited to get an email from them because they're quite a big brand here in Australia. And I don't know what I was thinking at all with this photo shoot. We still work with Vanity today from time to time, and I can tell you the quality of work has drastically increased since this. So let's start with this photo here. I have no words. I just have to laugh at it because it's so bad. Okay, so the props are really bad. There's way too many rose petals. It's way too busy. The focus to me isn't on the products. The reflection of the loose powder of the Vanity lid, that's really, really bad. You can't even see the full name of the brand. This was all shot in natural light, by the way, in the corner of my bedroom. Obviously now I have a studio space, so things have changed a lot since then. I also think the color grade is quite washed out. It's not as vibrant, and I just don't think it highlights the products whatsoever. This photo here again, it's too washed out, and I just don't feel like the products were placed down intentionally. I feel like they were just kind of plonked down onto the ground, and there wasn't as much thought put into this flat lay as there could have been. I also really hate the bunny tails. They don't even make sense for the brand. I guess the magazine is kind of okay with it framing the image, but also the cotton buds on the left-hand side as well. And there's like some rose petals on the left-hand side too. They should have been cropped out. Yeah, not loving that one either. This photo here is probably one of the better photos in this gallery. It's probably, overall, it's a little bit too muted and dark for me. My style is very bright and airy now. And so I feel like this definitely could have been brightened a little bit more. This was using natural light, so this was before I had even invested in studio lighting. The lid on the loose powder on the left, that definitely could have been retouched. The reflections are horrible. The spray product in the center, where you have that reflective part of the lid, that doesn't look good. So really what I should have done was put 2 white boards on either side so that there was a really nice, clean, smooth gradient on that silver reflective surface, because that just, yeah, looks pretty bad. Otherwise, I'm kind of happy with the composition of the products. The products are actually in focus. Your eyes go directly to the products. It's not overly busy in terms of the setup and the props. Less is more when you're working with beauty and skincare, in my own opinion. So sorry about that, Vanity, for that first shoot. I'm really glad that you decided to come back. All right, let's move on to the next client. They are called the Glow Department, and unfortunately they're no longer in operation, but this is a little glance of the gallery here. Now, overall, the orange background, it's really not doing it for me. It's way too bold and bright. It's a no from me. This photo here, I'm not really sure what's going on. There's some like darkness on the left-hand side that I'm not really loving. I guess that's from the shadow of the dried, it's not a flower, it's like a dried plant that's hanging over the product. The little block that the product is sitting on, that could have been retouched. I don't really like that texture for this image. And the clear prism, that shouldn't even be in the shot. I also would have taken off the clear cap of these products too. Most of the time, if I'm working with products that have a clear cap, I will actually take it off when I'm shooting just because I don't think it needs to be there. I think that the product looks better without the clear cap most of the time. All right, this photo here, you know what? I don't really think it's that bad. I kind of like the lighting and the crispness of the white. I also really enjoy that I have not used that really bold, bright orange color. Instead, I've gone for a more soft and muted peachy color with those flowers. But you know what? It's okay. It goes all right. It highlights the products. Not really sure about that reflection though on the Midnight Mist product down the bottom. That's from my ring light, where I used to use a ring light for my product photography. Don't use a ring light for product photography. You'll get terrible ring light reflections, and it's just a bitch to try and Photoshop out in post-production. All right, this image here, the main issue that I have with this one is that the depth of field is way too shallow. All you can really see is the label itself, and like that's where the depth of field just stops. You can't really even see the top of the product with the lids open. That's not even in focus. So I definitely would have increased my f-stop. So this is probably shot at about 2, maybe less. I would have just increased that so I could get more of the actual product in focus, and just had the rest of the background blurry, but most of that product is actually blurry, which is an issue for me. All right, let's move on to the third gallery. This is for a client called Kalapa, and this was before I knew how to use Photoshop. This was before I even used Photoshop. And I remember taking these photos, and you can see in this photo, for example, there is a blue color cast. I remember searching for so long on YouTube how to remove a color cast. It took me a really long time to find the answer. And it's a technique that I still use today in many of my photos on how to remove color casts, because this is just way too blue. I hate it. So let's look at this photo. Firstly, the coconuts, they have all these little messy pieces inside the coconut. They could have been retouched a lot. The reflections on the products, I don't think flatter the products at all. That's the reflection of my window. And again, this is all shot in natural light. So natural light, it's harder to manipulate. This is why I adore using artificial lighting, because you can really control the reflections on your products, especially when you're working with products like this where the surface is more reflective. You've really got to pay attention to how your light is interacting with these kinds of products. Again, with this photo here, the same issues. The avocado looks absolutely horrendous. Like, God, it looks really bad. The orange, again, that could have been retouched. I think those are almond flakes. Not really sure why almond flakes were used in this image. Possibly it was an ingredient, but still doesn't make sense. All right, let's come to this photo of the products by the pool. So at the top of that photo, it is way too overexposed. The photo has lost all its detail at that section of the image. So I think a higher f-stop would have helped, and also increasing my shutter speed. The wet droplets on the concrete as well around the products, they definitely could have been removed in Photoshop. They don't look good at all. And obviously the coconut as well, that could have been cleaned up too. And again, I would have removed the clear caps off those products. And then this photo here, the issue I have with this is that really bad light reflection on the left-hand side of the product on this image. So that's a result of using natural light and no other kind of foam boards to block the light or reflect light. The product could have looked a lot better, let's just say that. But again, overall, I don't mind the composition of this image and how the leaf is coming in from the top of the frame, and that the product is sitting in the coconut and you can still see the writing on the product as well. So composition wise, I'm okay with this. All right, let's move on to the next gallery to go through. This is from a brand called Acora. And for me, this whole gallery, it's way too washed out. The color grade is really bad in my opinion, especially the leaves that were used. So let's take, for example, this photo here. I had desaturated half of the leaves and left the other half slightly saturated. And it looks like the actual bowl of product as well has been desaturated. It's a really, really bad photo. These two photos here, they're very similar. The leaf one is probably more of a favorite because I think the product stands out way better than the one on the flowers. Again, way too washed out. Could have taken off that plastic cap. The plastic cap, I think, makes it look a little bit too cheap and also has those really bad light reflections going on as well on the plastic. The one with the leaf too probably could have just been cropped a bit better. It's kind of sitting to one side of the frame, whereas you could just crop it to make sure it's in the very center of the frame and that there's not so much white space around the product as well. All right, I need to make myself feel better. So you know what? Let's just have a look at some of my favorite recent work that I've done, just so we can see the difference between my old work and where I am right now. So this photo here, I recently did for Botanica Blends. I have worked with this company for over 1.5 years in both a paid promotional way and also client work. This is one of my favorite photos that we did, and it was for their fruity cereal milk protein flavor, which is, by the way, so delicious. So delicious. It's amazing. So my creative concept for this was I wanted a Fruit Loop road leading its way up to heaven where the fruity cereal milk protein powder is standing. So that was the concept I was trying to go off. And so the background is completely photoshopped. It's had a background replacement. We've got a rainbow there, we've got some clouds, and that's all done inside of Photoshop. But I just love the brightness. I love the colors. It makes me so happy looking at this photo. This next photo here is a little bit different from the work that you usually see from me. This is my partner, Alistair. So he's a videographer as well. He also is a model from time to time, but this is also product photography for us. So this is our client, Protein Supplies Australia. We recently went to Tasmania on holiday and we were able to take some work with us and get these incredible shots outside. So their brand, their vibe is all about outdoors, fueling your lifestyle with the products. And this is the keto cacao product that we were shooting here. I just love this shot. I love this color grade. This is actually one of my own presets that I created as well. And I love this photo because it's different from a lot of the stuff that we usually do in the studio and on location here in Brisbane and Gold Coast. Now this next photo here gives me life because it's really simple, but it's bright and fun. Now the prop that these products are sitting on is from a company called Moodlier. Watch this space. There may or may not be something very exciting coming with Moodlier very soon. So I'll link that down below for you so you can check out their online shop. And the background here is completely photoshopped as well. So we have access to thousands of graphics that we use in our business to do things like this, where it's background replacements, adding sparkles, different kinds of effects like the clouds that you saw in the Botanica Blends photo, all those little bits and pieces that help us to create a more creative photo in post-production. So there you have it. I think it's really good to reflect on your past work and compare it to where you are now to really see how far you've come in your own journey. I know it can be really hard when you're on social media to compare yourself to other people and wonder why you're not where you want to be or you want to get to somewhere more quickly. But the thing is that we all have different circumstances, we all have different journeys, and we all don't have the same amount of time as other people either. So make sure that when you are trying to improve your work, you're trying to get to a goal that you've had for a really long time, whether it's to go full time in your business or whether it's to book a certain client or increase your prices, whatever it is, give yourself patience and be kind to yourself along the journey because it's your journey and it's not someone else's. And if you do find that you are comparing yourself too much to other people, recenter and focus on what makes you intrinsically happy and how you want to live your life instead of how other people are living theirs. So if you have any questions on anything I've gone through today, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.